Well, good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the On the Go Facebook show right after the 3 Go morning show. I'm Danielle Wiggins with Holly Strano, Maureen Kyle, Austin Love, Dave Chudowski, and look who we have joining us this morning, Russ Mitchell. Oh my goodness, Russ, you must have been asleep because we just saw you a few hours ago.
Well, it's good to be here. I got to catch a train in a few minutes, and I said, hey, let me stop in and see how my buddies are doing today.
Oh, we love having you, Russ. So he was on the Go Morning Show. Remember, if you have any questions for Russ, because he is actually going to have a one-on-one with former Vice President Joe Biden the day after the debates here. So we want to hear all of your comments about last night's debates. And we also have Russ here because, again, you have that one-on-one. You also reached out to President Trump as well to invite him. So how are you preparing for this interview that you have with the former vice president?
Well, Danielle, again, it's great to be with you guys this morning. You watched the debate as we all did last night, and you never know what's going to come out of that. And actually going into last night, I had a kind of an idea of what I wanted to ask him, and the debate just totally, flipped that flipped that script. So, it's basically just doing your homework, watching the debate, and asking some questions that you hope, people want to know. The way these things work is you only get a short time with these candidates. I don't know how many minutes we have, but it's not very long. So you try to get as much in as you possibly can. And earlier I alluded to catching a train, just for those folks who don't know what's going on. The former vice president is doing a train whistle stop campaign tour from Cleveland this morning. He's headed to past Pittsburgh and ending up in eastern Pennsylvania, making stops and talking to voters. So we're getting on the train with him here. And we're getting off the train in Alliance. I don't know if they told you, Holly, or Danielle, or Maureen, or Dave, but you guys have to come pick me up. I don't know if they mentioned that. They didn't arrange transportation for me to come back.
There'll be a couple kids in the car as long as you're cool with that.
No way.
I'm totally cool with that.
You didn't hear,
Uber, Russ.
We heard it was Austin. Austin is getting to do it.
Yeah.
So I didn't see Austin because Austin is the man, So Austin, he doesn't do that kind of stuff.
Wait,
so, anyway.
Yeah, Russ, that's
I'm the
so great
show
about
for.
we all
Austin
need
gets
to
out of
laugh.
pickup duties.
We all need to laugh a little today, so thank you for always being so genuinely kind, Russ.
So Seth also chimes in on Facebook and just says hi. He's watching from Clear Lake, Iowa, actually. So my goodness.
Wow.
And a lot of people
Hey, go
were
Hawks.
asking about, what are your thoughts on last night's debates? So I know you guys, we've been checking our social media and what's been happening. You guys, what are you guys seeing on your social media accounts about how people are reacting to the debates here in Northeast Ohio?
I think it's a lot of mixed reaction this morning. I mean, and I was even talking to Dave during commercial break. When you take a look at the comments, we even said it yesterday. If you've made up your mind about which candidate you're voting for, you watched the debate through a certain lens last night. And that's what I noticed a lot about the comments this morning is the different perspectives. I don't know if it really changed anybody's perspective, but overall, if I was going to say there's an overall tone, it was that, I saw a lot of people saying America lost last night, that the debate did not accomplish what people had hoped it would accomplish, would be talking about some of the issues. And if somebody was on the fence last night and thinking, I'm going to go into this hoping that one candidate or the other says something that's going to sway me one way or the other, I didn't see a lot of those people who were commenting this morning really say that they got that nugget, that they walked away saying, okay, this is, thank goodness they brought this up. That changed my mind. So my question moving forward is, how are they going to either clean up the debate? How are they going to allow people, the candidates to get their point across clearly and concisely? And then also, are they even going to have two more debates? What if both of them say, hey, you know what, we're getting bad reaction. We're just not going to do the next two debates. Is that a possibility? I don't know. Maybe that's a Russ Mitchell question since he's covered these for so long.
That's a great question. And in fact, last night, that's what everyone was asking. And the Biden campaign came out pretty quickly and said, oh, no, we're going to commit to these debates. But it's still very early. And you know how these things work. I mean, there's a lot of time for this to marinate today. and you got to think that they're going to ask for changes in the format. I believe the next debate's going to be a town hall format. It'll be a little different, but you get these questions. And Martin, I heard you say it this morning. You were watching with Mark, and he said, "Why don't they turn off the microphones?"
Yeah.
And your husband, Mark. And why didn't they just turn off the microphones? And that's one of the questions I think that's going to come up today, just in terms of what happens next time. Do you have a kill switch, for the moderator? Do you impose some sort of penalty, if you will, if someone interrupts? So a lot of questions in that front. And just going back to what you were saying a second ago about people being decided and undecided, I think I saw a poll last week that 90% of voters know who they're going to vote for, and it will take an awful lot to sway them. But when you look at that 5 to 10% of people who are undecided, I mean, did this do anything? Did this, the scale one way or the other? I don't know.
Russ, I'm glad you said that, because really quick, we'll get to you just a second, Dave, because Rick Mason chimed in and said he is undecided on our Facebook page. And he says he feels like he has no choice that is adequate. I feel terrible for what our country has become. And Russ, you do have experience moderating debates, and you actually defended Chris Wallace, because we had some people really, I love how you said it on the 11 p.m. last night, saying they were hating on Chris Wallace and his performance, but you have sympathy for him. Why?
Well, I think all of us, in this conversation, because, we do this for a living, we understand that that's not an easy job. I think people at home, watching that are going, oh, why doesn't he do this? Or why doesn't he do that? And looking at my, social media posts, most of the people saying that did not work in television. And their solutions were, hey, well, if my kindergartners do this, I put them in the corner. Well, you're not going to do that with the president of the United States and the former vice president of the United States. It's not going to happen. And I can remember I've done a couple of Senate and one gubernatorial debate, but the one primary debate that I moderated was for the NAACP. And it was back in 2007. It was pretty early in that campaign, the 2008 campaign, and there were 10 candidates on stage. Most notably, a guy named Barack Obama, a lady named Hillary Clinton, and the guy directly to my right was Joe Biden. And I mean, it is like herding cats, and that was
Wow.
That was 7 people. It's nuts. So when I see people hating on him, and I'd love to hear what you folks think as well. I go, you know what? That's tough. That's an impossible situation for someone like that to be in. And somebody was asking last night, if they gave you $1 million, would you moderate one of these? Well, for $1 million, maybe. but those are basically no-win situations. I mean, think of a moderator in our time, in the last 3 or 4 cycles, who has walked away from that, and people said, he did a great job, or she did a great job. It is tough. It's a no-win situation. But of course, it's an honor to do something like that.
Diane, well, she chimes in and says, what moderator? So, like you said, it's tough for those people who have done it. So we appreciate your perspective. Dave, you were going to say something before I cut you off.
Well, I was just going to ask Russ, we were talking about the microphones and that, but they would have to agree to that, though, correct? And I'm not so sure, maybe Biden would. I don't know if President Trump would.
Yeah, they'd all have to agree to this. But as Chris Wallace pointed out several times last night, now you both agree to these rules.
Right.
So this would be a negotiation. They'd have to agree to all this stuff. And then you wonder, and you brought it up earlier. I mean, do you just say, if you're Joe Biden, and it's a question I'll hopefully get to ask today, or if you're President Trump, do you say, listen, let's not do any more of these? I mean, that's what's the point? Mm-hmm. And we've got 2 weeks to figure that out. The vice presidential debate is next week.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the vice presidential candidates have to say and how their debate will be compared to the presidential debate. But another thing here in Cleveland, we were thinking about our protests. I know everybody was worried that there may be violence. And Austin, you had that part of the story this morning.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really had anxiety going into yesterday, especially what the city experienced after the death of George Floyd, and that we didn't want that to be repeated yesterday. And Cleveland, I think, really took that to heart, and with the eyes of the world upon them, didn't want to have that be another side note of the story as well. So really amped up police presence both in the air, on the streets, of having a lot more boots on the ground, and ended up being a very peaceful protest yesterday. A lot of hundred, if not thousands of protesters came out. We talked to people from all over the world, really, from Japan, Norway, even France. So a lot of people coming here, and not just from Northeast Ohio, all talking about social justice. And really, there's only 4 arrests that were made. And Cleveland police have a press conference later today at 1:00 to discuss a little bit more of these in detail. But I mean, all in all, I think a job well done by protesters, especially, and also by Cleveland police to make sure that this was sane, safe, and really just making their statements out loud in a peaceful way.
Yes, keeping it peaceful. That is what we wanted. Now, it was a big night last night for Cleveland because we had the debates. And then we had the Indians game as well. And Paul, because here, this is for you, Paul. You wanted the Tribe coverage. So, okay, we're trying to forget last night's game, Dave. But Holly, Dave, you guys have to prepare us for tonight. We are facing elimination. And Holly, we got rain in the forecast. So for our last bit, let's talk Tribe.
All right, I'll take it first, Holly, and then set you up. I just have to tell you, it's frustrating because Shane Bieber had a season like none other, and to have that performance last night, I think 2 things happened. Number 1, nerves, first postseason game. He's a human being, and I definitely feel like he felt that. Number 2, I'm seeing and hearing that perhaps he was tipping his pitches, meaning the Yankees knew when those fastballs were coming, and if you go back and watch the highlights, they were all over his fastball. They stayed away from his curveball, and the bottom line is the Indians, they got a hit too. Francisco Lindor, these guys need to come up in the playoffs, and they didn't do that last night. 12-3 the final. The Indians lose game 1. It makes it a must-win game tonight in front of no fans at Progressive Field. The Indians have now lost 7 straight playoff games, 3 to the Yankees in 17, 3 to the Astros in 18, and now this game last night. They got to turn it around with Carlos Carrasco, but the question is, will they get the game in, Holly?
Yeah. And I bet that's hard with no fans, just to, that feel of being home, especially. But I'll be doing my sunshine dance all day long, to make you aware. But the rain is definitely good potential, especially close to the lakeshore. Obviously, that's where Progressive Field is. So we'll keep you updated. I would highly advise, the WKYC app, or sticking with us online. Obviously, watch our evening shows. But there is a really good chance of rain, and it's going to get real windy today. So there's a couple of elements that could impact the game quite significantly.
All righty. Thank you so much, Holly, for that. Okay. Anybody else want to take this? What do you guys think? The Tribe. Are we gonna win tonight? Or are we gonna keep our playoff hopes alive?
I'm saying nothing because yesterday I declared a win.
I kind of had the same thought, Holly. I was like, oh yeah, we got this. So I'll just be, a supportive fan.
I'm the emoji with the zip mouth, right?
Okay. Also, you posted about your photo in the field there in Progressive Field. So come on, what do you have to say?
Did you see?
Austin?
I put that out on Twitter.
Yeah, Dave, that was very nice of you. I was watching the game yesterday, and they put for a quick second out to the outfield, and we have our billboard on the 9, and they got a quick shot of it. And I was with my girlfriend. I'm like, Allison, look, I'm on TV. And she's like. You're always on TV. What are you talking about? Like, you work for TV for a living. Why are you excited about that? I'm like, but this is ESPN. This is awesome. So, but you know what, Dave, we have our cutouts there, and right. I don't think that they really brought the mojo. So I think we need to, get them going a little bit more soul in the cardboard cutouts today, and get them going something. So I don't know if you have any ideas, but we are there. We experienced the game yesterday. It was a little chilly, but I had a lot of fun.
I'm going to let my cardboard cut out.
That you being on ESPN wasn't the headline on every newspaper this morning. I mean, what else was happening in the world? Austin.
Russ, we always pick on Russ. Austin. You know what? Love him.
And Danielle, I hate to cut it short, but I already got the knock on the door that I am needed. Yeah. So I'm going to log off of Zoom.
So we're all going to log off right now and say bye. You can check Maureen, Holly, and Dave right in the Today Show. Cut in. Go Tribe. And thank you, Russ, for joining us. See you guys. Have a great Wednesday.
Bye-bye.